Hi guys, it's me. I just wanted to come on and share with you some thoughts that I've been having today about how we can make America the greatest again. Well, many of you remember, or at least may remember, especially old guys like myself, a time when, especially before the internet started to grow, a time when pornography was not such a widespread thing. uh, in this world, indeed, not just in America. But it seems as though we have gotten lazy as Americans, especially in terms of what we are accepting of as part of our culture. And the plague of pornography has really taken root in so many ways. And we have unfortunately come to accept this as normal under the premise of freedom of expression. And those who profit from this industry are using the First Amendment as a way to, as something to hide behind, really, and continue to create this material and make fortunes from it, probably billions annually. I don't really know what the statistics are on that, but I do know that a huge portion of what's now on the internet is indeed just pornography. And much of it is produced, unfortunately, in states like California. And I believe personally that if we're going to make America the greatest again, we have to do something about this, frankly. I know it's not a popular um, approach, and I know I'm going to get flack for it because, who am I to, people are going to say, who am I to say what's expression and what's not, right? I mean, they're going to criticize me for attacking free speech and freedom of expression. Well, if you really want to know what freedom of expression in our Constitution is all about, it's about what I'm doing right here, which is talking about something that is, you know, criticizing the pornography industry is going to make me unpopular with a lot of people. But freedom of expression allows me the right to do that. And that is the purpose of freedom of expression in our Constitution. Purpose is to uh, grant citizens the right to say whatever they want about whatever they want to criticize and not have to be persecuted for it. You'll know if you do your research that the founding fathers who wrote this into our Constitution were mostly very spiritual minded people, very often religious minded, and mostly deists of one form or another, especially Christian oriented uh, thought, and came from those kinds of backgrounds. So they did not uh, uh, likely foresee a time or view a time where this type of thing would be everywhere under the premise of free expression. I don't think that's what they meant, frankly. And I think anyone with uh, an informed mind and who can put the First Amendment and freedom of expression in context, which is the important thing, it must be put in context, as must everything. Uh, I don't think anyone who does that can honestly agree that this is what was meant by freedom of expression. It was not meant that we would poison the minds of our young people. It was not meant that we would perpetuate all manner of uh, sexual abuse against all kinds of people who are involved in this industry. I think if you ask anybody who's been involved in that industry, I have not, but I think if you are or were to actually talk to anybody who has been, they will say that it is a disgusting business to be involved in. It that, that likely they were abused by somebody, and we are simply perpetuating this type of behavior by uh, deeming it freedom of expression and allowing it into our society. And unfortunately, we are, by extension, causing problems for the entire world. Who, many countries now have widespread internet access, and people in societies where this type of stuff was never seen before can now access it. And think of the problem there. This is basically like giving a 2-year-old child unlimited access to your liquor cabinet and expecting there to not be any problems as a consequence of it. That is what we're doing. So I would like to tackle that issue should I become president of the United States in 2024. I think that it must be tackled because it's past due that we, we, we haven't, it's time that we've done something about it, and it's time that we do something to create a more positive experience for future generations. And I don't think there's either any coincidence between the rise in divorce rates and the rise in access to pornography. I don't think there's any coincidence in the rise of uh, all manner of negative aspects of our society and the access to pornography. Uh, Violent crime is definitely, I think, more of an issue now than it used to be back in, say, the 70s, 80s, especially the early 80s, before uh, companies like America Online started becoming popular in the United States, at least. So I just think it's at the very least a subject that we should be discussing and something that we should be considering seriously the impact on our society of this uh, particular uh, industry, if you even want to call it an industry. I don't really think that it can be legitimately called an industry. I think it's a plague, frankly, but you can call it what you will. and we can discuss it intelligently. But I think that is something we should do, and I would like to do that and come up with real solutions, not just back and forth in politic left and right about it. I come up with solutions that are going to help solve the problems associated uh, with this industry and really intelligently address the issues. So, what do you guys think about that? I think it's a good idea, and I don't think that the approach to solving it would be to take something like, say, what happened with the PMRC back for instance, back in the 1990s. I think that's a rather ineffective method of actually trying to create solutions for problems. I think what needs to be done is a much more comprehensive uh, discussion needs to happen, and I'm willing to have that discussion. And I will buy online, and I believe that we are, and that in the long term it will have a fun. My connection here is once again unstable, so I'm going to try to come back on here in a few minutes, or maybe I'll just hang around until it gets better and have a glass of water. I really do need a drink. Um, I've been staying away from other types of beverages for the last while, and I do believe that everything is going well. I have corrected what needed to be corrected in terms of what was, I believe, going to negatively impact the timeline had I not corrected it. And I certainly feel like something has changed. Something has greatly changed, actually, and I would like to make sure that it actually stays on that course because it's going to be a very positive course. So I hope that you guys out there are still with me and are still supportive of what I'm trying to do here. I'm not giving up, and I still think that I am the best candidate, best potential candidate for 2024. Uh, Having thought about what Michael Phillips said in regard to Mike Pence, I think I'm definitely a much better candidate than Mr. Pence. Uh, I think all you need to do is look at his track record and the things that he has supported over the years in his political career. And it becomes fairly obvious that he really should not be in politics and should probably be in a uh, a regular attendee at one of the mental institutions that I am planning on reopening when I become president. So that is my belief about Mr. Pence. And I think he's dangerously, probably borderline psychopathic, and that is someone we definitely do not need in our White House. And anyone who wants to help me make that happen is a friend, and I'm with you as well. Hi there, Jimmy. Welcome to my chat. World of peace, great happiness. I agree. This is what we're looking for. This is what we all want. And we don't want to let the psychopaths be in power anymore. We really, really don't. We can't afford to let that happen anymore. Basically, what we need to do as a species, as a human race, is collectively wake up and stop allowing our governments to be controlled by psychopaths. And unfortunately, this is what we've had a lot of, I think. At best, sociopaths who just feed off the resources and uh, wealth of our societies and bleed us dry, suck us dry. But like we do have and have had, I believe, people who are just psychos and want to start wars and kill people, and they enjoy that sort of thing. They get off on it. And the best way to expose a psychopath is to expose them. So, or the best way to defeat a psychopath is to expose them because they're afraid of being exposed. They don't want people to see what they are. They want to pretend that they're just like the rest of us and want to be perceived as just like the rest of us, but they are not. And you know, the best thing you can do to prevent the world from being harmed by someone like that is to expose them for what they are to the world and point out to them even what type of person they are. And don't be afraid to do that because, you know, 99 times out of 100, they're too afraid to do anything about it. Um, you just have to call them out on their BS basically, and they'll go off and hide and not bother you. That's how they are. They're cowards mostly as well, strangely. Psychopaths are people that often, they want to get into positions of power and get other people to do the dirty work for them. They're people that, would like to be president and send people off to fight wars on their behalf, but would never actually fight on themselves necessarily because they don't want to be perceived as something that they are. It's really strange. They want to be perceived as good and righteous and noble a lot of the time, but it's obvious who they are. It's people who try to rationalize that, oh, we need to do this or take this kind of action against this group and this people, and don't believe people like that. They're psychopaths and they're trying to manipulate us. Uh, Jimmy says I'm scared of coronavirus. Yeah, I think it is a matter for concern. I think what you really need to do is just be really careful and maybe stay home as much as possible. Wash everything. Wash yourself a lot. Um, build up your immune system. I don't understand kind of virus it is, but I'm sure if it's a virus, it attacks your immune system. So build up your immune system. Take lots of vitamins. Eat lots of vitamin-rich food. Uh, oranges, bananas, apples, lemons, you name it. Even lemons, just eat them. Like vitamin C is what you need. Hi there, Mer Mercidan. How do you say that? Can you say what do you mean by that? Are you making fun of me? Can you say a CD control? A CD control? Is that some sort of UK slang, British slang? I appreciate the sense of humor. I really do, honestly. You guys are funny. Can you say, I'm trying to think of some Monty Python jokes. I can't right now. Or Faulty Towers jokes. I grew up on Monty Python and Faulty Towers and all that kind of stuff, so I get British humor. And I like it actually probably a lot more than American humor, frankly. I think you guys have a better sense of humor. And a lot of Americans would agree, especially where I grew up. Because we're actually more like you guys culture, like British people culturally in a lot of ways in New England. Um, we still retained a lot of the British culture and humor and all that kind of thing. So yeah, so I actually get along better a lot of times with people who aren't Americans. Do you like recommendations movies? Jimmy says. In what sense? Do you mean the YouTube, like YouTube recommendations? I notice they recommend my own videos to me when I'm looking through the what's new on there. They've recommended my own videos to me, which is funny because I've already seen them because I've made them. Um, I don't know. I like good movies, Jimmy. I like movies that make me think, and I especially like science fiction or what I think is a lot of times just disclosure. I like anything with extraterrestrials. I like documentaries. I like history movies, stuff that recreates history or even just documents history. Um, I like to watch and study anything pertaining to law. I'm a I'm a I'm a lawyer, so I find the law to be fascinating and interesting, and there's no end to what you can learn about the law, frankly. um, I really like studying American history. I like studying European history. It's something that I learn about myself by doing because you know my ancestry is European mostly. I I have gotten into studying Russian history and African history, and I will make my I am starting to make my way to Chinese history. China, I think, is a very fascinating culture and country and people, and with a seemingly very rich history and rich, large level of contribution to the world as a whole. So I've developed a great admiration for the Chinese people, actually, as a result of studying Chinese history, what I've studied, and I do intend to study more. There are many great documentaries about all of our history, really. But my wife and I have gotten into studying learning about Tartaria and how once upon a time it was, the human civilization, it was much less divided than it is now, and it was much more connected. And we weren't all divided up into these little kingdoms and nations, and it was more just a single thing. And I think that must have been fantastic, frankly. It must have been much better. And, nations came out of sometimes necessity, sometimes out of other motives, but that's what we have now. Contagion and parasites. Are you talking about coronavirus still? Is there is there any information available on how coronavirus is coronavirus, not coronavirus? Is it coronavirus? Really? Like chronovision, but coronavirus, is there information on how it's transmitted and how it is communicated and how it can be avoided? I haven't come across anything like that yet, but I would assume if it's a virus, it probably has a lot to do with just being clean and building up your immune system, which will help you to avoid contracting it in the first place and staying away from public places where you might encounter people who are carriers until it's been deemed, a non-threat. But yeah, stay clean, you guys. That's the thing. That's an important thing as to how we stay healthy. Just being clean and careful what you eat as well. You know, be really careful what you eat. Make sure that your food is clean and it hasn't been tampered with or cross-contaminated or anything like that. In fact, maybe vegetarian food might be best to eat for a while until this virus thing passes through, because it could be a form of um, pestilence, which is disease that is transmitted through meat. That could be what it is. I don't really know, but these are all just my theories. Hello there, Bush Gaming. Welcome to the chat. How are you today? Uh, we're talking about ways and methods that we can make America the greatest again, and hopefully also help make the world better by extension. So once again, I want to explain to you guys that fix. I believe I did fix timeline, and I'm hoping to get some confirmation of that really soon. I think that there will be some confirmation of that, and I think you will see that things are going the way they should be and moving forward in the best towards the best possible scenario at this particular section in time, and it's going to work out really well, as as well as possible. So yet again, rest assured, World War III has been successfully averted. Um, it really looks like it has been, and also we are diligently working on correcting the alternate 2076 that was discovered recently. So there's a lot going on that I also can't actually talk about because it could compromise things. So rest assured knowing that there are people out here doing what they're supposed to be doing with what tools they have available to them. Mm. Well, I mean, you're talking about China. Wuhan, isn't that China? Um, I think that China is the business of the Chinese people, and it's not up to anybody else to intervene or do anything. I think that if China is going to change in any way, whether it's defeating a virus or any other way, we're talking about what the Chinese government's there. But if China is going to change, it's going to be done by Chinese people. So if you're suggesting that I look at that and want to, you know, would do something about what's going on in China as a potential future U.S. president, that's none of my business, frankly. Hi there, Bush Gaming. How am I going to run for president? Well, I'm campaigning right now. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to as many people as possible. I'm making these videos. I'm pretty well. Uh, I'm getting a lot of coverage in media and doing everything possible to let people know that I'm here. I have a website and I'm promoting the heck out of that. I'm doing as much promotion of the radio shows that I've been on. And starting this week, I'm going to be doing a whole lot more of social media promotion, uh, contacting radio stations, contacting uh, different people interested in government and letting them know that I'm a potential candidate for 2024 and that I'm the type of candidate that they're looking for. They might just not know I'm here yet. But, it's early 2020 still. We've got almost all of this year, 2021, 22, 23, and virtually all of 2024 because the election is at the end of 2024. So I have almost 5 years. And as you guys know, a lot can happen in that much time. So I'm doing something every day to promote my campaign. And some days I'm doing a lot every day. So that's how I think it's going to just snowball into a movement that the majority of Americans are going to want to get behind when it comes to the election. And that's it. Very simple, very Just focus, hard work, being honest, being direct, communicating with the American people, and letting everybody know that I'm here to do the job. Basically, it's not going to be easy, and once the election is over, that's just the start. So, yeah, thank you. I do think a lot can happen in that time, absolutely, and I think I can do it also. In fact, I'm confident that I can. In fact, I know that I can. The only question in my mind is what exactly is going to happen along the way, basically. But I do believe that I will be the next president of the United States. I really do, and we will see. Though. We will ultimately see. Free will and freedom of choice has a whole lot to do with it. Not just mine, but everybody else's. Hi there, Christine. Welcome to the chat. Christine, everybody says, what do you think of the guy who came forward and said he was the time traveler Noah and it was a fake? A lot of coincidence, I will say that. Um, Here's what I think. This is my belief, and you can take what you will, take this how you will, but I have actually thought about that. And my belief is that Noah is uh, someone I know who in the future is sent back here to uh, for a specific purpose and mission. And I think he largely fulfilled that mission. And it did happen that he was left back here because he blew his mission, basically. And I think what he also did then was, uh, in order for him to fit in to this time section where we are, 2019, 2020, he has lied about uh, his origins and has stated that he is a fake so that he can fit in, basically, and not be perceived as a crazy person like a lot of people would be. Like people would, I mean, anybody who comes on the internet and says they're a time traveler and that they're trying to get information out is going to be perceived by the masses at this point as crazy, perhaps, and is going to have a difficult time. Fortunately for me, I'm well insulated from the any potentially negative effects pertaining to that because I am significantly older and have had a lot more experience in life that has enabled me to protect myself and my family from anything negative that would come as a consequence of that. I'm 45 years old, not 21, so um, but I can see how it would be difficult as say someone who appears to be 21 years old trying to fit into this time section who came from the future. So yeah, they would, try to deliberately negate what they had said prior if they were trying to fit in. And other people have done that too, I believe. I'm not going to name names, but I believe that a lot of time travelers have visited our time section, and likely a few of the people on Apex TV are real time travelers. That's my opinion and my belief, and I'm sticking to it. Fabrizio says World War III is coming. Fabrizio, I think you are wrong. So Don't be so sure. Christine says, I believe that too. Nice to meet you. That's I'm glad someone else shares my belief because it's nice to know that I'm not crazy. So nice to meet you too. Christine also says, how do you feel about Elon Musk's idea of government where there are fewer laws? Is that what you mean by it will be freer? Um, I definitely, I don't think that's Elon Musk's idea. I think our founding fathers had that idea and other people before them. But I think what's happened since then is we've created far more laws than are necessary. And I think we need to definitely roll back a lot of stuff. Yeah, but definitely fewer laws for sure. I'm in agreement with Elon Musk on that. Absolutely. I mean, fewer laws mean more freedom. So how can that be a bad thing? Can people not be trusted with their own freedom? I disagree that they can't be. I don't think people need to be told what to do for the most part. I think, you know, certain basic things should be agreed upon, but we don't need to be told what to do all the time by some infinite stack of laws that we could never possibly read all of. Christine says, I've had my own experiences. Are you talking about time travel or other sort of phenomenon? I'm definitely interested if you've had to talk with you personally. Um, if you'd like to do that, I'll send you my Skype link here, and we can chat off the like one on one. Off my connection was a little bad there for a second, but if you have I'd like to know more about your experiences for sure. So if you want to talk to me directly and out of the chat, here's my Skype link, so you can instant message me there if you want to. But, why do Apex upload so many time traveler videos? I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I am not Apex TV, so I'm merely on Apex TV and talked about on Apex TV. So I have talked to the Apex people, and I think what they're doing is just trying to present an objective, uh, give an objective presentation on the subject that nobody else wants to touch in the media because you know it's fairly controversial and could be you know when you're talking about anything that's still somewhat classified by governments and militaries, then you could be bringing problems upon yourself by talking about them. So a lot of the media won't. And as you are aware, Apex doesn't let you know who they are. We don't even know who Apex TV are. So Jimmy says, "Does Marvel still exist?" Are you talking about the Marvel comic book company? Right now, they still exist. I don't know whether they will exist in the future, but um, I hope they will. I like Marvel comics. I've been a big Marvel comics enthusiast since I was a kid. So okay, you've had alien experiences. Wow. Well, if you feel afraid to come forward or hesitant, maybe you could do it anonymously, because the more people who put this information out there, the better it is for everybody because, especially people who are coming forward, really. I mean, I'm encouraged by what you're saying, frankly. And if you were to come forward about it and talk about it, I would be even more encouraged because sometimes I feel very much alone in this, honestly, even though there's quite a number of people at this point who are regularly talking about their experiences. And, but nobody likes to feel like they're the only one trying to do something or get something done, for sure. But since I started remembering, I do intend to, you know, make as much of an impact as I possibly can in getting this subject material out to people. I intend to be everywhere all at once, even eventually. So I'm not giving up, you guys. I can promise you that. And if you want to talk with me, I could maybe you could come on my channel even anonymously or something and just help people to understand the information better. Maybe I could interview you or something. That would be really cool. So let me know via Skype if you want to talk or do something. That would be good. Jimmy says, "How do I feel about social justice warrior and feminism?" Depends on what you mean by that. I mean, those are vague terms. I think social justice is natural. It's a natural desire for people to want society to work in a just fashion. So, depending on what you mean by that, if it's a particular type of thing that, I don't know, some people just like to pick on something that doesn't really need to be picked on, though, and they call it social justice. So, it really depends on what you mean by that. And feminism is another vague term. You can mean so many things by feminism. But I do believe that in the truest sense of the word, I myself am probably a feminist. Um, but other people have ideas of what that means. So I don't fit into necessarily what their meaning of that word is. I think these are just vague terms that people try to use to justify or rationalize one type of behavior or another. So um, it really all depends on what you mean ultimately. So Bush Gaming says, "I have seen UFOs 2 times in my life. Both were the same triangles in the sky." Yeah, and that's frankly not unusual. So understand that you are not alone in your experiences and that there are more and more people out there and out here with similar or even identical experiences to yours. And, we're not crazy. There's something, there's a lot going on that is just not being talked about. And I'm just trying to get people to talk about it as well. I'm trying to get more people to talk about it. So that's another reason I'm making these videos. Um, and don't be afraid, don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't feel like you're a whack job or something for just saying, like, just asking questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions or wondering what it was that you think you might have experienced or that you may have or did experience. It's healthy to do that. And the more the truth comes out, the better we'll all be, the better off we'll all be. Okay, so don't be scared. You got people like me to support you 100% of the way. So you know, I want to hear all of your individual stories for sure. So, um, guys, get in touch with me via Skype, or we can chat directly. And I'd love to hear what your experiences are. Bush Gaming and Christine. Christine says, yes, thank you for speaking up to encourage others. You're welcome, because encouraging you encourages me, frankly. Like when you guys relate your experiences, it encourages me. So I encourage you to keep doing that because it helps both ways. We encourage each other, basically. You are the first change makers. I'm helping you. I'm posting you on my Facebook. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And, you know, that's what we're here for, really, is to get the information out and let people make of it what they will. Hopefully, they'll think, and hopefully, it will make them think differently about the nature of this universe we live in. Hi there, Amir. He says, is the timeline where YouTube is destroyed evaded? Um, I hope so, because I actually like YouTube. It's been it's been very good to me, actually, and I think it's a very useful tool. Uh, I think it's been good for society so far, mostly. I mean, you know, it has issues as does everything, but I think YouTube is a beneficial platform that has helped people. Hmm. Wow, I popped up as a suggestion for you. Really, that's interesting. Well, that's cool because I didn't know I was being suggested to people, but I'm glad YouTube is working the way it should then. Well, do you know that I'm running for president in 2024, Christine? I'm actually running for president of the United States in 2024 with the hope of declassifying uh, this information, all of it, as much as we possibly can, as much as there is, and making it all public. Um, okay, cool. Well, that's good. Also, then that the information is getting out, and that information is also getting out to people. So awesome. YouTube is great. I think I love YouTube now. They're helping me out. Great. Oh, you okay. Well, welcome to the live chat. This is, you know, this is what we do. We have these little chats amongst ourselves, and I get to answer your questions and ask ask you questions. So it's pretty useful. Okay. You'll have to forgive me for not remembering doing that. There's a lot going on in my world at the moment, and it's difficult for me to remember every single thing about everything. But and I'm going through a sort of memory regression therapy as well because of my experiences, and I'm endeavoring to sort of deep dive into my memory and really bring out everything that's in there. And this is, you know, it's taking a lot longer than I thought it would, but here we are on this channel doing that. I might I might eventually like try to write a book about it or something. I have no idea, but I think for now I'm just going to stick with this YouTube channel as well, and that'll be it. All right, let's see. Yes, nice to meet you personally and be able to ask questions. It's nice to be able to answer them. And I have questions for you as well, if you can, if you want to answer anything. Uh, is the individual whom you mentioned in the last video me? I hope it isn't. No, it isn't. I was talking about bad association and how that can negatively impact outcomes of things. But no, that is not you. I don't know you. So the person I was talking about, or persons, uh, is is not you, and I'm not going to talk about that, frankly. But know that I have disestablished contact with a potentially negative influence on me that could indeed alter my the outcome of my decision making. So I removed that from my sphere of influence, and it won't impact any decisions I might have to make or will make in the future. So it's all good. It's all good. Checking to make sure I'm stable and not a crackpot. I understand that. Um, we do need to make sure that if people are putting themselves forward as candidates for office, especially an office such as president, that they are stable and not a crackpot, and that they are not seeking to use the office for some ulterior motive, like funding the military-industrial complex, especially like fighting wars and sending our young people off to fight for some reason that has nothing to do with us. At this point in our history, in American history, I think we've hopefully realized that we have to be careful about that kind of thing because we've had, obviously, Vietnam was that, Iraq was probably that, and a bunch of other conflicts were that. And there was no reason for us to be involved in those conflicts, frankly. Um, we could have done things differently, and we would still have a lot of Americans alive had we done that. And we would still have, we would be a wealthier country, and we wouldn't have so many enemies. So obviously, our administrations in the past were doing things that didn't serve the American people when it came to our military and making decisions that didn't serve our interests, but were for some other motives. And yes, you are correct. We need to make sure that crackpots who would do that stay completely away from Washington, D.C. And I think if you examine my videos further and examine what I've been talking about further, you'll see that that is the reason why I'm doing this. It's because I'm aiming to keep those crackpots away from our government completely, because I don't want those types of decisions being made on behalf of my children or your children or anybody's children, right? So, uh, you could help with my memory problem. That would be cool. How do you think that could work? Please let me know. It was the video where you had army picture on video, and you felt you were God's bringer of the brimstone, and discuss it. You thought that was your purpose. Um, I think. Let me clarify. If you got that impression from what I was saying, my purpose is to help put an end to this endless conflict that we found ourselves in by making sure that those people who want us to stay in perpetual war are no longer anywhere near our government and unable to negatively influence us. And by removing the elements of the system that continue to influence us negatively that way. Um, that's part of what I'm doing. So I think maybe I should have been more clear, but I hope I'm clear now in what I'm saying. Jimmy says, "Do you visit underwater city?" I don't. I don't. I've never been to an underwater city. Underwater city that I remember. Maybe some of the cities that we have right now will be underwater in the future. That's a distinct possibility. Um, we'll see what happens, I guess. Hmm. You are correct, Christine. The ends do not justify the means, or the means do not justify the end. Um, I think at his core, Trump is in fact a peacemaker. I mean, I think that he doesn't want conflict. He wants peace. He wants prosperity, um, and he's angry because our government has led us in a path that is contrary to that, and he's doing all that he can to rectify that in 4 to 8 years, which is not easy. I give him credit for trying. You know, honestly, but I think it's going to take more than 8 years to really solve these problems, frankly. So that's another reason that I'm doing it. Is it's going to take at least 12 years. So I could do a lot in 4 years, frankly, because I'm younger and I have more experience. So I can get. I know what needs to be done in that regard, and I know how to do it quickly. So I'd say give me 4 years, and the world will be a very different place and a much better place. Honestly, that's what I think. Um, all countries should join together to make a world country. Not really sure what we would call it. How about? I think that will happen inevitably. Frankly, Bush Gaming. We could just call it Earth. My platform, Christine, is on my website. It's macintoshusa.org. There's a list there of proposals. There's only about a dozen so far, but I think they cover a lot uh, in those 12 proposals. And it's all very practical stuff uh, that needs to be taken care of that I believe I could fully take care of in 4 years with a lot of work. I mean, I won't be sleeping, but and a lot of other people won't be sleeping. But it can get done in 4 years. We're gonna need a lot of coffee. That's about it. Here it says check these out. What is that? If you could explain to me what that is, I might. Are those YouTube videos? Okay, I'll check them out after the chat's done. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, it's okay to. Oh, thank you for posting my info on Facebook or anything on Facebook. Frankly, I appreciate the exposure. I really do, and I don't feel like you're putting me on any hot seat. I consider it's a good opportunity to explain to people and to you what what your concerns about uh, a presidential candidate might be, because we have to be really careful these days who we put into office, and I understand that completely. I'm as careful as you are, so that's another big part of the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't see anybody who, in 2024, uh, really is kind of as stable as I as I plan on being as I currently am. I think we've got people who are not really as insightful as we need them to be. So it's okay. Amir says alcohol lowers your vibration. I prefer bottled water. Dasani brand, if you will, it will help increase your vibration to exponential levels. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you know, I, don't- I'm not a huge alcohol consumer, so I don't think you need to be concerned about that if that's what you're worried about. I like to do frequency meditations. I like to just sit in a room for a few hours at a time sometimes and listen to, you know, 528 hertz or 432 hertz recordings. I often play them while I'm sleeping at night because it calms the whole room down, the whole area that I'm in, the whole neighborhood down. Um, I think there should be more of that, frankly, positive frequencies. And yeah, I think a lot of people should drink a lot less alcohol. So and water. I agree with you. I don't feel uncomfortable or under the gun, Christine. I feel like we're just having a conversation, so don't feel like you know um, you're putting me under any kind of pressure. I'm happy to just answer your questions and be honest and give you my immediate thoughts about things and feelings. These are thoughts and feelings, a mix of the two. But yeah, that's another thing. I'm not really a politician. I don't consider myself a politician, and I've never held a political office in my life. The closest, I mean, it's weird. I have been involved in a very large trade union since I was in my early 20s, which you could say, a lot of people consider to be political involvement, but I think that's just common sense. I'm not really a politician in the real sense of the word, um, and I'm not a politician, frankly. I I think the word politician has come to have a kind of negative meaning, and um, I don't, I don't think I could be associated with the same types of things that people who are thought of as politicians are associated with. So, in that sense, I'm not a politician. I'm something else. I'm in the other category, perhaps. If there is an other category. Yeah, we all want peace, but how you get there is the concern. Well, you don't get peace through violence. That's common sense, but you get peace through communication and understanding and learning and uh, you know helping your fellow humans in ways that are practical and learning about things. and coming to understand that our differences don't have to keep us from working together in a way that is mutually beneficial. That's the way I think. That's how you really get there. But let's see, who do you think Mike Pence would pick as his VP if he's elected? Mike Pence is not going to be elected, you guys. He's you know he's a neoconservative. He's a war hawk. He supported the Iraq War. He's extremely homophobic. Um, I don't think America will will be convinced that he's the right guy to be president. I really don't. So I don't even want to answer that question, frankly. I think that's a terrifying prospect. And the more we think differently about that subject, the better off we'll all be. So what I would like you to do, what I would like us to do, and what I'm trying to help happen here also is focus on not Mike Pence getting elected. Because if we focus on that, that's what could happen. What we need to focus on is a better alternative. And so far, I think I am that. But you'll see. We'll see. You know, we'll see. I want you guys to know more about me as well before making that decision. So that's why I'm going to keep making these videos right up until as long as I can. Okay. Dasani is the best bottled water. Okay, I'll try it. I don't think I've ever had that. I might I might have, but I just drink whatever's at the store. Hmm. Yeah, you're right. Of course, America affects the whole planet, so that's another reason why I think it's important to kind of have a bigger perspective on things than a lot of people, um, or as broad a perspective as you can on things, than as broad as perspective as possible, frankly. Um, and also, don't be, don't think we know everything because we don't. We're still learning. You have to be humble. You have to have humility and have to realize that as great as America can be, we don't have all the answers to everything, and we don't have the right to force our perception of what is a solution onto other people. What we need to do is try to understand other people and learn and help others to learn as well. It's all about learning and communication and trying to find ways to cooperate on things. And I think that's how any kind of lasting peace anywhere is gonna happen and continue. But 639 hertz, Amir. Huh? That's cool. I think I've checked that one out too. It's high frequency. I'm sure it's good. Hi, Christine. Is there anything else you want me or anyone else to know when I post this? Nothing specific. Just thank you for your support and for taking the time to listen to what I'm saying and understand what kind of person I am and what I'm doing here because I'm here to help you guys as well. That's it. Thank you. It's been nice chatting with you. Do I like the internet in general? Says Jimmy. I think the internet is a great idea. I think it's been really badly abused. And I think we need new companies, new platforms, new a lot of things, and we can always improve on it for sure. But yeah, it's a great idea. It's a great invention. So yes, I do like the internet as a concept. Yeah, walking on the grass is really cool. That's 528 hertz frequency is the frequency of grass. Squeezing trees. Yep, I know. I like to do all that stuff. Do you, you give me permission to raid Canada? Well, I'll tell you what. I don't have to raid Canada. I can just go to Canada because my family are Canadian. So I am in fact a Canadian American. So there would never be any need for me to raid Canada. I can just walk in there and say, "Hey guys, I'm home." And they're like, "Oh, cool, welcome, eh? Welcome home, eh?" And they don't even call me hoser, which is cool because I'm not a hoser. If you're a real Canadian, you know what a hoser is. Um, Thank you, Christine. That's really great. I appreciate the exposure and the opportunity to reach other people, reach your friends, and uh, I hope to speak with you soon. Okay, Amir, I will definitely check those out because I am interested in recovering more of my memories, and for sure. So thank you for that information. I will go back after this live chat and bring it all up and check it out. Yeah, 528 hertz is the frequency of grass. 432 is like the frequency of earth, the dirt and the soil and uh, wood, some woods. Yeah, I know a lot about that kind of stuff because I'm actually a musician. So I've had I produce music. I've, I've since I was a child written, recorded, and produced and performed music. So uh, after a point, I came to understand that the music I was making was a bad frequency. So I started messing around with other frequencies to try to make myself feel better at first and be putting out more positive things to the world. Yeah, I'm not from Indianapolis. I grew up in New England. I'm from Boston. Um, but I've lived in a lot of different places. I've lived in Alberta, in Canada. I've lived in Pennsylvania. Uh, I have a place in Texas, California, Wyoming. I've spent a lot of time in Quebec, actually. I lived in Europe when I was a child. Um, I've been all over the place, really. But basketball fanatics, yeah, there's a lot of basketball in my hometown in Boston as well, the Boston Celtics. And I like basketball. I prefer baseball because I like to relax. I like something that like calms me down and gives me something to focus on and relax and like just chill out. So baseball's good for that. Uh, Well, yeah, I agree. Alcohol is, not the best for a lot of things, but it's okay sometimes. We need some medicine sometimes. So it depends on what you use it for and how you use it and what your purpose is for consuming alcohol. I don't think it's evil to have a beer every once in a while, and I don't think you're gonna bring yourself any problems by doing that. So I think there's extreme abuse of alcohol, and there's extremism in the belief that you shouldn't have any ever. So that's my belief. So balance is the key. Mm. An indirect cause of forgetfulness is stress, or memory suppression. As was the case with me, I was subjected to memory suppression, deliberate memory suppression, which is uh, considered by many to be a form of torture, actually. But it made me forget things. Do I like meme? Says Jimmy. Yeah, memes can be funny. My daughter is more into that kind of stuff, but you know, I think it's more memes are just for their entertainment, right? It's fun. I think I was probably making memes before they were called memes, actually, because I've used the internet since I was a child. At this point, I've been using the internet since the 1980s. Um, and in fact, I worked for the agency that helped develop the internet when I was just a child. So, but yeah, you guys, thank you for coming in. I'm getting a little tired, and I think it's time for me to go take some rest. Um, I will come back probably around this time tomorrow, or at some point tomorrow. So if you have some kind of notifications button that lets you know when I'm coming back or when I'm on again, please feel free to turn that on. I don't know how that works yet, but um, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot. This is Michael Macintosh. Have a great night.